Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. Today I'm going to show you how I do a braid out. It's going to be a chunky-ish braid out, or you can call it like a braiding curl because I'm going to be using perm rods on the end. And per usual, we're starting off with freshly washed hair. And disclaimer, I just did like a black rinse on my hair. So if you look at my nails and they look dirty, it's the black dye. So yeah, so you'll be needing a water spritzer. I love my continuous mist. You're gonna need some mousse. Per usual, I'm using the Lotta Body. You're gonna need some sort of cream. I love this African Pride Moisture Miracle Cream. It smells so, so good. And of course, you're gonna need your perm rod to attach at the end of your braid for a cute little curl. I like to match my perm rod by how thick the braid is, and since we're doing like kind of chunky-ish braids today, I'm gonna use this rather than a small one like this. Like if I was gonna do smaller braids, I would use a smaller rod, but since we're doing chunkier braids, I'm gonna use a bigger rod. And last but not least, you're gonna need a bow or a clip to tie your hair up as you're doing it. So now I'm just gonna section my hair. Mama wants the side part, so we're just gonna do a cute little side part. So my hair is parted. It ain't like super duper neat because my hair is gonna be so big and voluptuous, you're not even gonna need to see the part. So now I'm just tying my hair up. And the back is the hardest part for me, so I like to get the hard part over with. This is the amount of hair I'm working with. You can kind of see how thick it is. So I'm gonna take my continuous mist. I'm just gonna spray it. I'm gonna make sure that's nice, and it doesn't have to be like soaking wet, but it needs to be moisturized enough. And then even though I just washed my hair and it should be properly detangled, I'm just gonna detangle it one more time so it can be ready for this cream I'm about to put on it. Ooh. All right, so now that we're nice and detangled and it's wet, now we're gonna use some of our African Pride Moisture Miracle Cream. So just spreading the Moisture Miracle all down the shaft and making sure to pay extra attention on the ends because the ends low-key are the most important part. So we can make sure when I wrap it around the perm rod, it stays. And it should look a little bit like this. Now we're gonna do our Lotta Body mousse, my fave. And really, I just put mousse on the ends for real. Oh, why does it not want to work? So yeah, putting on our mousse. I really pay attention to the ends when it comes to the mousse. But yeah, put a little bit on the shaft too. And then this part is the best part. Now we're just gonna braid. And I like to braid pretty tight. Oh, and another note, the tighter you braid, the more defined the curl will be. And I want these curls to be fluffy, big, and kind of defined. So I'm gonna braid it tighter, but if you want a looser curl, like a beach wave type vibe, then you would do a loose braid. But I want mine tight and defined. When I say tight, I'm like really making sure there's no like, it ain't loose in the middle. Nice and tight. And sometimes while I'm braiding, I just kind of spread my finger down the shaft to make sure that there's no like bumps or tangles. So when I take this down, it'll just be nice and smooth. And when I get towards the end of the braid, I normally leave like this amount. And I put more mousse on it. spread it out. And then here comes our perm rod. And you're just gonna hook it behind. You're just gonna wrap it and smooth it as you're wrapping it around the rod. And then once it's on there, I just keep on smoothing and smoothing and smoothing and smoothing, so we can know that when we're asleep, this will not come loose, because that would kind of be a nightmare. So we're gonna do this for a few more times. And then we just take our little thing and we hook it. And there we have our first braid. And now we're on to the next section. So I spray it with water, get her nice and moisturized. I take my comb to detangle, pay special attention to the ends and make sure it glides down smoothly. So now I'm putting on some cream. And I'm gonna spread it all down the shaft. Yeah, this section is way bigger than the section I just did. So look how nice and moisturized she is. Now we're gonna take some mousse. Just a little bit, because we're just gonna pay special attention to the ends. And now, girl, we just gonna braid. So now we have both done in the back. And are these two different sizes? Well, yes, but being that it's in the back, it's a pass, and it's still gonna be nice once I pick it out. So now I'm finna just go ahead and work on the rest of my head. I'm gonna do 8-ish more thick braids, and I'm gonna come back when I'm at the end and top of my hair.
That was close. Is everybody all right?
We are all done. Here's a good look. All right, so I counted, and this is actually 12 braids. It was supposed to be like a chunky braid, and don't get me wrong, they still are like kind of chunky. They're not as big as I thought they would be. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? They're done, and some of them are like different sizes, but I promise you, it really doesn't matter. So now we're about to seal the deal, and I'm about to spray this oil sheen all over my head. Ooh. And now I'm about to sit under my bonnet hooded dryer for like 10 to 15 minutes. And usually I like to give any like set I do, perm rod set, twist outs, flexi rods, braid outs, anything. I like to give it like at least, well, I like to do 12 hours, but because my hair can really hold water. But all you really need for real is like, I say 6 to 8. And then I would check in with y'all mañana for the takedown.
10 hours later.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is in fact the next day, and now we're about to do our takedown. So first things first, I just check to see if it's all dry. I just kind of touch it, and not even gonna lie, since they're so thick, it takes a long time to dry. So some of these are a bit damp, but as long as they're not, at least for me, my hair, as long as they're not like soaking wet or like obviously very damp, it'll still turn out right, to be honest. I grab my oil sheen. I love this oil sheen. And I'm just gonna spray this once again all on my braids, wrap some on my hands, and just put some oil on them before we begin our takedown process. Alrighty, so the biggest tip when taking down your braids, sort of similar to my perm rod set video, and if you haven't watched that, go check it out. But you want to separate the braid where it naturally parts. The biggest thing for me when it comes to braid outs is shine, definition. I'm a definition girl. and volume. And the volume will come naturally throughout the days when you pineapple it and put it up at night. So yeah. In order to not create frizz, it's really important to separate it where it naturally parts. I take the perm rod off and just roll it down. And then look at that beautiful curl. Is that pretty? And of course, more oil. I'm gonna take a little bit of my oil, lightly spray it on my fingertips, and just rub it down the braid. Because we like shine here over here. We love shine. Rub the oil all down the braid, and then I just naturally separate it. Naturally separate it where it divides. And sometimes you can even just like tug on the end of the braid and it'll just naturally fall apart like this. Here we have our braid out. And I call this the skeleton because there's no way we're just gonna leave it like this. What I do with my braid outs and all my rod sets or whatever, I separate it to the dear heavens. I separate it and separate it and separate it. It's gonna take longer because I'm gonna separate the heck out of it. And that's what makes it so like big and voluptuous and so much volume. So I'm just gonna separate it. So I'm just gonna go section by section and I'm just gonna separate it where it naturally parts. And you see it's already getting kind of like bigger. All I know is that I'm separating it till it can't separate no more. So this is what we have. I didn't want to separate it too much because I didn't want to create frizz, but look at all this. This is literally, look how like full this is, and this is literally just one braid. I'm gonna unravel the rest of my hair and I'm gonna come back once it's all done. So we are now on our last one and you see how like full it looks. I haven't even picked it out or anything. That's just because I'm separating the dear life out of it. I separate it to the smithereens. That's what I do. I separate it physically until I can't anymore. You see how I have 3 pieces like this? Baby, I'm gonna go piece by piece and I'm gonna separate it piece by piece without creating frizz. And the fun part about braid outs is that as you sleep on them and as the days pass, the better it looks and the bigger it gets. So you really don't even gotta do too much on the first day because trust, as the days pass, it'll look better, more voluptuous, more volume, all that. So now that all the braids have been taken down, I'm just gonna feel through my head, specifically like go through my scalp and just see if I feel any ridges where they may need to be separated a little bit more. So usually in the back I have to pay extra attention and like separate it and make sure that it's all like laying flat. So now last and final step, of course, more oil sheen. Here we have our final look. And like I said, it literally only gets better.